I was a really shy, introverted kid, and making things or drawing and painting was my way of kind of communicating how I was with the world. It's where I felt most comfortable. I knew what I loved doing. I didn't know if that was going to be what I would do forever, but I knew like that's what I was always drawn to. And then my mum found this alternative college in Mount Eden called Auckland Metropolitan College. So it was like 120 children or people, and you sort of had your core subjects, but you could do more if you were really interested in music or cooking or whatever, so you could really excel in what you were interested and focused on. I pretty much lived in the art room there, and that's where I met lots of my friends who I'm still friends with today. So it was a really special place, but also quite different for me as like a 13-year-old suburban Australian kid turning up to this place, and it was pretty wild. Like there's punks everywhere with mohawks and lots of goths, and you're allowed to smoke cigarettes. I was like, oh my gosh, like where am I? What's mum done to me? But yeah, I loved it. It was the perfect spot for me, and I'm so glad I went there. Actually, when I had Saskia, my second daughter, I went through this period of feeling really like I'd lost a sense of who I was, because I wasn't painting or making work. I just felt like I was changing nappies and cooking and cleaning, and I was like, oh, it really stressed me out. But as soon as I just surrendered to that and just respected the fact that I was a mama now and this is what I'm doing for this part of my life and I can still make work later, everything changed. So I just really needed to own that and not get too worried about it or pressured about not being able to do particular things. Yeah. And now she's 2 and it's a completely different story, and they're way more independent, and I get a lot more sleep, so I'm able to manage my life better. Yeah. And we're lucky that we live 5 minutes from the studio, so I can always go up there and paint and stuff at night time as well, which is good. Yeah, I've always drawn, and it's a really nice thing just to have a sketchbook or some crayons or something, and I love that because it's really free and you're not doing it for any particular thing or reason. So yeah, I quite often will refer back to sketchbooks I've worked on a year ago and go, oh, that was a cool idea. That is what I need in my painting right now. So that's really nice, and I think yeah, that's something I've done since a kid that I still do now. So Misery name, that was sort of a name that was given to me when I was 16, and I had a bunch of friends that were all taggers and into graffiti, and they were like, your art's really cool, you should come out and do tags with us, which I thought was so weird. I was like, why would you risk getting arrested to go out and do this in the middle of the night and stuff like that? But I did go and see what they got up to, and I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. So I started just painting with ink and brush on the street, and they were like, you have to have a name, and my friend Elliot was like, I've got this really cool name that's got these cool letters that you should write, it's called Misery, and it suits your artwork. At the time it really did. So I was like, okay, and then I don't know, I think people just got to know the work I did and associate it with that name, and then when I did clothing later, it also carried the name Misery, so it's just something that's always been there. I just think we're this special little island oasis in the middle of nowhere, the bottom of the world, and it's so beautiful and unique, and I love that it's this sort of hub of all these different cultures. It's sort of like you don't get that like a Pacific Island culture here in this one place anywhere else in Asian culture. And because of my family history, like my mum's side of the family, I already feel like I have a connection to Pacific Island and Chinese culture in some way. So being here, I love being surrounded by that, but also like we're sort of small enough that there's that community thing again where it feels easy or accessible to do interesting things here and make things happen, but we're big enough that the rest of the world will see it as well. We are so lucky to live here in New Zealand and have an amazing leader supporting us. Like, thank goodness for Jacinda and just being such an excellent mama to all of us Kiwis. I'm really grateful for my family, for my mum and my sister and all the women. My whole family is pretty much women, and they're all quite strong and crazy and wild. But yeah, so I feel incredibly grateful to be born into that. And then my husband, my children, and being here, having this beautiful garden and yeah, where I live and the amazing community around me. Motherhood was probably the biggest point in my life where I really had this whole new respect for gratitude and just what it is. I think that when you become a mum, like I had Charlie and Ramona, my stepchildren, so I already had a sense of what it was like to be a mum, but when you have a baby of your own, it's just this whole other realm, and it's like having almost like a porthole into another world of, you have so many emotions after you have a baby anyway, but there was this whole new respect and gratitude for women and for mamas, and the sacrifice that you make and you know what you give but also what you receive back is so special. The grateful artwork I think really just came from where I am at the moment. So obviously been in lockdown and we've been spending a lot of time in the garden, and I really enjoy planting and growing vegetables and flowers. So I had heaps of fun illustrating it. So it's all sort of like little Mother Earth ladies. I draw lots of them, these sort of like motherly head figures with plants and things all growing out of them, and lots of rocks and stuff. I really like Japanese art, and Tom, he specialises in Japanese tattooing, so I guess that sort of stuff is always around us. But I really love their storytelling and just how there's life in everything, and I think that's something that always comes through with my art as well. Like a rock will have a face, and there's everything sort of personalised, which I really enjoy. So the grateful artwork is a little bit of that, sort of like a magical Zen garden where there's these Mother Earth ladies and plants and things growing. Yeah, I think definitely at the beginning I've always been lucky to have like friends or people I've worked alongside around me that have been huge supporters. So definitely Matt and Imond, when I was a lot younger, was someone he was a really established comic artist and did super cool work, and he was doing quite well over in the States. And yeah, he was always so encouraging of the work I was doing and just giving me little tips and hints of where I could go, or you know what was potentially possible if I kept down this path. So he was a great mentor. And then also starting out all my graffiti crew, which is really funny because at that time we were all just little rat bags getting up to mischief, but lots of them have become amazing, well-established artists and doing incredible things all around the place. I just loved the idea behind the Grateful Project. I think that it's really thoughtful and it's a beautiful product, and it's raising money to support an incredible cause. So as an artist doing like work outside of my own, it's really important to me to choose things that align with my values, and this seemed like one of them. So with this project, I'm really hoping that we can raise money to help support bowel cancer New Zealand and get people screened a little earlier, so hopefully they can get through it. Yeah, and my grandfather was a survivor of bowel cancer as well, so it's extra special to work on this, and I hope more people will become survivors like him.